or we should have the countdown going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing a countdown.
I saw it.
Did you?
It says recording on my side.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. Oh, I guess we are recording. Shit. Well, I guess we're live. It was weird. It was like it doesn't say it's recording, so I don't. You know.
It's okay. You're not the
Yeah, it's
IT
weird.
whiz you thought you were.
Yeah, I guess I need to call IT support, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
what's
you
up,
better.
everybody? I'm Dustin Coiner from Talkin Motorbikes, TrackDaz here in SoCal, and I'm on with club racer / privateer Moto America guy, Stock 1000, right? Manny Segura. Anybody that's been racing in Southern California or with Arroyo Seco, right? In the last,
Nope. I haven't been
you
there
haven't done
once.
Arroyo Seco?
Nope. Roger keeps bugging me to go, but I haven't been able to make it out there yet.
Yeah, well, okay. So anybody that's been racing everywhere except Arroyo Seco, you probably raced against Manny if you're in the open classes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember racing against you. I think I was still running the number 2 plate at Chuckwalla, and I remember you come out, and I battled with you a few times.
Mm-hmm.
I did give you the Matumbo,
You did. Yeah. You
and
sure did. And I
that's
was like, and honestly, that was like, I was like, who the hell is this guy? Who does he think he is? Because I was just fresh to the SoCal
yeah,
because I was coming back from Texas. I lived in Austin for 7 years, 6 or 7 years. So I
yeah.
was racing in the CMRA. So when I got out there, I think that was one of my first like ever that I ever did.
Okay,
CVMA, sorry, not CMRA.
CVMA, yeah. There's
Yep.
so many acronym race series. It's hard to keep track of them all, right?
It can be, yeah, especially in conversation.
Yeah, we were a WSMC, CVMA,
Yeah,
CRA, AFib. Yeah. So yeah, it's
yeah.
like
Who cares?
alphabet
Where
soup.
were you at? Right. Who cares? Where were you at? Who was involved? Those are the
Right.
details we need to know.
Yeah. Well, I was in the middle of a race. I can't remember where I was finish, position wise, but I remember you taking a dive bomb on the inside of me, and I just
Mm-hmm.
cock blocked the shit out of you. And with my knee
Mm-hmm.
on the ground,
Yeah.
I looked back at you and I shook my finger at you.
Mm-hmm. I was like, I was stuck behind you because I had to come from a row or two back because I
Oh,
never
I was
qualified
holding you
out
up.
there.
I was holding you up.
A little bit, and I was trying to get
Shut the
by,
fuck.
and I didn't know what the hell I was doing there, so I just stuck it in, and he
Yeah.
slammed the door on me, and that was what I got to know of you for a long time because I didn't have a conversation with you for probably another 6 months or so.
Yeah, because the paddock was huge there. Like you might have eaten my barbecue, right? I don't know if you ever did
I'm
that.
sh- I'm sure I
The
did, yeah.
like I used to cook. There used to be at Chuckwalla had this cool thing back in the day. I don't know if you remember, but there was Team Low Budget, and they would
Yeah.
do these epic barbecues. And I would always cook like those jumbo prawns,
Hmm.
and
I
then
know for sure I
like
ate your food then because I know I had a grip of those.
right? Yeah, and then, Anton and Brown Man had their thing, Jimmy and Karen had their thing. Um, there was the fried chicken dude, like there was so much shit there. It was like race weekends at CVMA back in the day were really like camping trips with the homies with a little bit of racing in the
Yeah.
middle. It was
Yeah,
great.
and I never got to until recently. I always kind of outcasted there because I just showed up to get some time, um, and I've made some really for sure. But
Yeah.
I just kind of stayed away from any of that kind of stuff. I just wanted to go get some seat time, get ready for the season, and it's been great for that. But I've definitely made some really close, good friends from there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I still every now and then talk to people out there. Actually, the other night I was talking to my friend Cowboy, and I've been
Hmm.
friends with Cowboy for probably more than 15 years.
Yeah.
He's a former track days guy, whatever, but I guess he's like the COO or whatever. He's like the ops
Yep.
guy. He manages the whole club, responds to everything,
Yes.
whatever. dude, Cowboy kind of scumbagged me to come out, you know? So, dude, next week I'm turning 48 and I'm going to go out there and race at CVMA. I
You
haven't raced at
crazy guy.
CVMA since 2019, dude.
Atta boy. I hope I see you out there. There's some
I'm gonna
things.
go race the old shitbags class, you know?
Oh, there's some fast guys out there now. They're not a push around. So
I don't
you got
think
your
they
hands full
really
there.
ever were, but you know, it's funny. Like I guess you could say I'm one of the founding members of that club, and
Hmm.
I can remember saying that when we started that club, I was like, you know, it'd be cool is if at some point we could make this like WSMC, where back in the day at WSMC, man, like to do, let's just say the leaders were doing like 21s or something, right? And if you could do a 27 and finish 14th, that tells you like the club's got some depth to it, right?
Yeah.
And I keep hearing that that's kind of how it is now out there. Like there's
Hmm.
like the guys that are doing 48s are finishing like 14th, which is like perfect. It was like my vision, you know? So
Yeah.
pretty stoked about that. So
That's
yeah, I guess I'm gonna go race CVMA and race an old shitbag like you guys, you know, or
atta
against
boy.
you
I
guys.
hope I get to see you out there.
Yeah, man. You know, I think I'm gonna do Formula Open and Formula 40 on Saturday. That's it. I'm not gonna spend the
Okay.
weekend, and I'm gonna try not to involve myself in anything other than chasing the fun of racing and then getting the fuck out of there. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Well,
So,
good. Good. Good.
so
Yeah, that'll be
you're
fun.
gonna you might race out there too.
Yeah, I did the last round. I finally got bike back together and worked on a few things after the Moto A season, the last round, and I got it to where I thought it was going to be a good setup because I'm on the first year riding the Suzuki and I'm still learning it. There's geometries, kind of everyone knows those baselines, but the suspension, especially for Chuckwalla, got it dialed there. I just had like 2 rounds last year to kind of just ride the, and I got thrown into the beginning of the season of the Moto A stuff, and that I had to learn it on the go. So I
Wow.
love it. It's a comfortable bike. It's not the fastest of the bunch, but it handles great. And yeah, it's the more I get to spend at Chuckwalla, I'll say there's more and more confidence that comes from it. But you don't ever get to stretch its legs, so then you got to learn all that stuff again once you get to the Moto A stuff.
So you used to race a Kawi, right?
Yeah. When you knew me, I was on a 2016 or 20. I can't remember if it was the 16. I think it was the 19 version of the Kawi ZX10.
Okay.
And then I think that was the last one I had. That bike is still going. I think Lug owns it, but he's looking to get rid of it. But yeah, I got rid of
Shit, that's the
that.
bike Lugnuts is racing?
He was, yeah. I think
Oh
he's
shit.
back on his bike now, but
Okay.
he had an engine issue last year, and he needed a bike to race it because he was in the points. So he bought the bike off of the guy I sold it to, just so he could compete. He was here. He was here at Podium Club, I think, is when
Okay.
his motor blew up. So he ended up with to Chuck, and I think he even raced some of the motor after he was off the Altus bike.
No shit. I I
Yeah,
I didn't know that. You know,
yeah.
I thought he had like, I don't know. Maybe I just had a misconception there. I thought he had was riding Michael Gilbert's old bike, but maybe somebody else was riding that, you know.
I think that may be true, but I know one of them took a shit. At least
Okay.
the motor did. The motor did, and
Okay.
he had to do like a swap. And I know mine. I know that for sure. He has
Wow.
it.
Okay. So you've
Yeah,
kind of gone to the dark side then, huh? You're sort of, so to speak. You're a Suzuki guy,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
For now.
I like everybody that was on the Kawi. I love the power of the thing, but it just when they went to this new bike and all the homologations that they made in the superbike stuff, the World Superbike stuff, it made it a handful for the privateer. If we had a swing arm and stuff like that, it was a different story. But we can't do that. So the electronics, the swing arm on it, not being able to change the steering angles, all that kind of stuff, it made it hard to ride. And I was already starting to struggle with some of that on the 19. Come to find out from Lug, I had kind of a setup that wasn't my forte for sure. I'm just learning how to race at that level, if I'm honest. And the guys that had been racing that bike, Mikey Gilbert, one of them, Lug obviously is another, Dave, Olsey Dave, as I like to say.
Yeah, everybody ditched the Kawi's.
Yeah, we all had to, because there was no way to go. I mean, you could get to a point on it, and then you were kind of like dead in the water. So everybody loves the power, but I couldn't make the thing turn. And I just struggled with making the thing turn everywhere, especially when you get to the national level stuff. And Lug has found that out this year. He makes it go good. I
heard some of the guys were talking about how like the kit electronics on those things were kind of trash.
Yeah, I never got to deal with it firsthand, but a handful of my buddies said the same thing. And talking to Corey and all those guys, they struggled with it quite a bit.
No shit. Yeah, I would have never guessed that, man. It's like super frustrating to spend the money that dipshits like us spend to do this crap and then have the stuff not work, So
yeah, it would be super frustrating. I was stuck. I won't say I was stuck on the Kawi, because I certainly wasn't. I was still the limiting factor there. But once I got to a point, I was like, especially with my package, my program, all of that, I didn't have the money to make it. The Suzuki made the most sense at that point.
Right.
It was either that or Ducati or something else, and I don't have the money to race that thing. So, yep.
No.
Trust me, I played with the idea, but that whole idea was the same thing. It was going to be about to do the level I want to do it, because I mean, I had the discussion with you at Podium Club when we saw each other last. I'm barely putting data into my bike this year. Like, I haven't had data at all. So there's money to be allotted everywhere, and if you can't,
I mean, with the Yamaha, the kit electronics are fairly inexpensive, right? I mean,
right.
What was it, $2,500, and you get the harness and the ECU and the little dongle thing or whatever, right? Like that's pretty reasonable. I mean,
I agree with you. Just you weren't going to get a better deal than I got on my GSXR that I have now.
Well,
it was so
I
cheap.
know you've heard my saying, right? I've heard my saying, right? What is it? And no, I'm not talking shit about your bike or anything, but I was, in general, it's like cheap shit is still shit, right? Cheap shit is still shit, right?
Yep, you're right.
But yeah, I get it, dude. I mean, look, back in the day, I when I got, let's see, I can remember Honda years ago had they were blowing out their 08,000s for like $89.99. I remember a few racers getting them just because they were so cheap. Yeah. But then what?
Yeah.
So, I mean, thankfully Suzuki's not that. There's like other people when you're on the race weekend. There's other people that ride Suzukis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course,
if you're that guy on the Honda, I mean, ask, High Rev Trev's watching the show right now. Like, he's the guy, right? Like, he's the one guy that has a Honda. So,
yep.
By the way, he says that there's a new T-shirt idea. He says that I should have a new T-shirt that says, "You've eaten my barbecue."
Good idea.
Right? Yeah.
Good idea.
So, So, what do you feel is different about your Suzuki, other than the fact that it's easier to make turn?
Nothing. It's the same as everybody else's Suzuki. It's literally stock, other than the suspension that we stick on there. I have a kit ECU, yoke stuff that I haven't been able to adjust all year long. There's been an issue there.
Really?
Yeah, so I haven't been able to get. Yeah, Chris was involved in this at one point. Chris Ulwich, where I was trying to get just to communicate to the damn thing. And this was early on the season. We worked on it round and round. The bike's on the other side of the country where I can only get to it, a couple days before the race weekend starts. And I was trying to debug this stuff, and I wasn't able to communicate to the ECU all year long.
That's awful.
Not knocking Yosh or anything, but
yeah. I mean, so was your bike like was that team hauling your bike round around or something, or?
No, so I haul all my own stuff. I've got a transit van that basically, I'll take it out to Atlanta, and when we're doing that East Coast swing like we had been, it'll sit out there for a couple of weeks until we go to the next round.
Okay.
This year I came back, but I didn't really have electronic issues there. There was more gearbox issues and stuff that it was still brand new. I was actually racing fairly well both races, and I 15th or 19th or whatever I finished, and they were all gearbox issues coming into the last corner, and thing would just drop into neutral, and it happened twice in the last race.
Go down to first gear.
Yeah,
when you go down,
I was going down to first.
So you go down to first gear, and the thing would pop out of gear.
It would just pop out. Yeah.
No shit.
Yep.
And it was an electronic issue, or was it a shift lever height issue?
I'm pretty sure it's a fork issue. It's actually like structural in the tranny, but it wasn't electronic because
speaking of blowing trannies.
Yeah. I had that happen on the Kawi. You did?
Okay.
Did you?
You know what? I had it on Suzuki's back in the day. There was a 750 that was apparently known to have a shit transmission, and they year to year, like from 2000 to 2001, they changed this one part, and it made it a solid piece instead of a hollow piece. And then
did it.
Yeah, we used to do all kinds of stupid shit back then, like shift stars and shift forks. Race shift forks.
Yep. Well, I dabbled in that this year for the first time at Austin because I hadn't had any issue of the thing dropping out. It was at Atlanta, dropped out of gear. Never did it again until I got to Austin. What was that, Brainerd?
I don't remember, man. It all blends together.
I think it was Brainerd. It does. She's there where it was popping out of gear. So I was like, it's got to be a fork or something else. And one of my good buddies, Eddie Thornton, was talking to him in Austin. I was there the week before, just getting, and he's like, "You need to put a shift star in that thing." And I was,
"No shit,
shift star. I'll get a shift star." And it got there Friday night. So, no, sorry, not Friday night, Thursday night. So I was putting it in. So I missed the first practice because I was still putting the thing in because I had never taken it apart before. And it seemed to make the shifting a lot smoother, but when things got hot later in the weekend, as we all experienced, it did fall out when I was in second gear, or even if I was in second gear coming into a transition when the engine was just coming down, it would just drop out of gear. It did it a couple times. So I just kind of had to manage it as best I could.
So you leave your bike on the in your van and everything on the East Coast or whatever, and then you fly home? Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, depending on how the schedule works out. That's what I'll do. I'll just leave it, fly home, got to go back to work, and then for a company. So I didn't have as much free time as I do when I'm working on my own stuff now with the detailing, which I've been doing for years. But now I have that time back. So if I need to drive it back, I'll just drive it back. But in some cases, it just makes more sense just to leave it there, and I'll show up early or whatever to work on stuff and get everything ready.
Well, that's cool, man. I'm just curious about that. Like I always like talking to privateers because like each of you kind of have different ways of doing stuff. And you with the van, that sounds, I mean, do you ever are you that guy that like sleeps in your van on race weekend, like that kind of thing? Or how does it work?
I've definitely done it. Usually for like the motorway rounds, my dad is like, he's above and beyond with just the help and stuff. So he'll always show up most of the time, and we'll just get a room after I've set everything up. But like definitely when I'm on the way and I don't have funds or whatever for extra hotels and stuff. Like I'll just sleep in the van and just get
Well,
there.
you know what? I mean, don't take this the wrong way or anything, but like you seem like the quintessential privateer guy. Like you're, you got your own bike. It's stock engine, basically, right? Like you haven't had the engine out and had it massaged, right? So you get a stock engine. You're basically running the classic $10,000 race bike, right? Like just suspension, tires, bodywork. That's it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, like you did the full Moto America season, right?
This year, I believe the year before in 2019. Yeah.
So what does it cost for a guy like you to doing it that way to do a season with Moto America?
These are
Ballpark.
yeah. These are not legally binding figures, but I'll say
Legally binding figures.
Yeah. Let's say 50G is what when I really went at it. I guess it was 222. That was what we had that year, and this year I think it was a little less because we didn't have to travel, quite as much. They only gave us 5 rounds, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it did save a little bit in travel, but when we went this year, the kitchen sink at tires and everything else. But obviously no data. It's just me, my dad, my sister, my family when they come, my wife and my kids. So we're not paying, really anybody to transport. We're not paying any engineers, nothing.
So like in your van, do you have like spare shit, like spare engine, spare wheel,
I take what I can.
As much spares as you can.
Yeah, I take what I can. Sometimes I have a spare set of bodywork. Sometimes I don't. It just depends on how the finances are shaking out. If I'm bending the thing up a bunch. This year, I had quite a few drops. So, just racing, kind of getting towards the top 10, into the top 10, and just racing 2 seconds faster than what you're qualifying and dropping the thing. And so,
yeah,
you gotta repair it as you go, get body work, whenever you can, paint it whenever you can. It's definitely not what they run out of the Yamaha rig. That's for sure. It's everything I can get, everything I can pull.
Well, I mean, Richard's doing the same kind of attitude. Everything he can get, he just gets everything, right?
Exactly.
And if he can't get it, he makes it, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun. With those guys are a lot of fun for sure. But
I bet.
I mean, they're the official effort for Yamaha, so it's a whole different thing. And they're doing. Do you do Superbike Cup too, or are you just doing the stock 1,000? Okay.
Yeah. Towards the end of the season, the plan was to do it since the beginning of the season. We just didn't have the money to do it. But towards the end of the year, we were qualifying for all the races. I just didn't have the tire allocation for it.
Right.
So we ended up doing. I think I only did Austin, actually.
Really?
I wanted to say I did Brainerd, but I think I only raced both races in Austin.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting, man. Like I was talking to Nolan Lampkin, I think right before Thanksgiving, and he surprised me too, man. Like, I mean, I'll say it, like he kind of put off like serial killer vibes a little bit, right? Because he's so intense. But the dude like raced with hardly any spares. Like, it's crazy how you guys doing this and traveling you guys are the show, right? And some of you guys could be like one blown engine away from being done, right? Like that's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. Yeah. But I mean, that's what we can afford, but we want to be out there. We love it so much. Like it's not going to stop us if we don't have a part. Like we go out there and hopefully we can find it in the paddock. We run it how it is, or we don't run. It don't matter.
Yeah.
We're still out there.
So of the tracks on the Moto America circuit that you go to, which one is like your jam? Like, this is my shit right here. I know I'm going to do good here every weekend.
Uh, Historically, it's been Barber. It's one of my dad's favorites. He loves. We're clean freaks, OCD, all that, and so Barber's kind of like it's pristine, it's beautiful. We run good there. It's a fun track. It kind of
It
flows
looks like
together.
fun.
It doesn't beat. Yeah, it flows together. It doesn't beat you up like some of the other tracks on the calendar do. So it's historically it's been better for me there to go quick. I can race
Okay.
kind of inside the top 10 there pretty normally. So I'd say that's probably a very close number one to like a Road America or Road Atlanta. Yeah.
See,
Something
I
like
was
that.
thinking you'd be a Road America lunatic.
I love Road America. It's so
Do
much
you?
fun, man. I love it. Yeah. I've only been there. I've
Yeah.
only raced there twice. But the first time I went, I was just like, this is insane. Like some people in their life will not understand how insane a place like that. Just the speed and the way that you have to commit to some of that stuff in order to be quick and to race side to side with, whoever's in your group or
Yeah.
even behind. Like it's just you have to commit so much more than you do anywhere else because of the speed.
Really.
Yeah.
But Barber's not like that. Barber's more, would you say, more of like a writer's track, maybe, or a,
Yeah,
what would
I'd
you
say
say?
that. Yeah, I'd say it just flows. It flows really nice. So there's not really hard braking or anything like that. It's more of like, I guess, a Chuck Walla where you just kind of let the thing roll everywhere. You use a brake. You got to trust that you've got enough grip to let the thing roll. And the more
Right.
you do that, the quicker you go.
Yeah, I do remember that. It's easier said than done sometimes, right? It's like,
Yeah.
Fuzzy Castro. Do you know him? Mike Castro?
I love that. I love that little guy. Yeah.
I love that little midget, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so Fuzzy and I worked together when I was doing well out there, and
Mm-hmm.
man, it was, I'd come to him and I'd be like, yeah, it feels like a melting ice cream sandwich on the front, and he's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know
Yeah.
anything about setting up a motorcycle. I just get on the thing and ride it. And,
Yep.
he really worked with me and got me going really pretty good out there. It was, like I said, two
Yeah. I'd say
plates,
you were going good. I'd say you were going good
and
at that time. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, one of the things we talked about right away, he said he noticed my riding and he was like, hey, you used to ride a 600, didn't you? I'm like, how did you know? He's like, well, you're riding 1,000 now, so like maybe you shouldn't ride it so much like a 600. And
Right. Yeah.
and what he meant by that, I think, was that I was riding lower gears for longer
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
revving it to the moon. And he's like, you don't need that. You have this thing now called torque. And
Yeah.
so, that helped
Yeah.
me tremendously. Um, I don't know if that'll still help me. you know, like I used to
I
think of
think
the
you'll be
brake
fine.
lever like a little safety blanket, right?
Yeah. 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 Especially there. That's exactly what it is. You don't really need it all that much. You just kind of
Right,
it's the safety. It's the safety. You talk to
right.
Ozzy Dave, and everything for Ozzy Dave is just the throttle. Fix it with the throttle.
Yeah.
Keep heating the tires. Fix it with the
Keep
throttle.
it pinned, mate. Yeah. Don't be like,
Yeah, exactly.
the biggest feedback I get from Stamboli is don't be a pussy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you're at their level, it's true, right? But it takes time and experience to get there. You
Yeah.
don't just get there, jump on the thing, and twist the throttle. I mean, there are guys like that. Bradley Ward, one of my good friends. Haven't talked to him
Dude.
in a while, but Bradley was fast as hell, and
Yeah,
that
he
guy just
was.
twisted the throttle. But it can bite you too. It can bite you for sure.
It
And
bit
in
him a
his case,
lot,
that's yeah.
right? Because he came out, he was pretty quick on that 1,000, right? But
He was quick on
man,
everything.
yeah, he rode it almost like the same way he did that R6 that he was racing when he first came out, right?
Hmm.
But now he's out of the sport, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't think he's in support at all, right?
No, no. From what I know, it's not anywhere in the history or future.
Right.
That's he's had the same injury on a big bone that he can't take again. So I think
Oh
he's
man, that one in
done with that.
Jersey. Oof.
It
I
was
could
the
still kind of
same
picture it in my mind, dude. Like, how the fuck did? And then he broke the leg again, right?
way,
He
almost
broke
the
it.
same way. Yeah.
Did he have to put a new rod in it, a longer one? Like,
I mean, that's the only thing you can do. What else do you
right,
do? And at that point, like you're gonna lose your leg if you break it again. So
right, yeah. It's
I can totally understand
oof.
his perspective, man. But yeah, talk about a guy that just there's no thought of a
he
consequence of falling
he
down.
he
Like
did
he just
not
wasn't
half
bothered.
send it. He was full
No.
send.
Yes. Yes, that's the
Is
problem.
there somebody that you race against pretty regularly in the Moto America circuit that's like that around you or near you?
No, I don't think there's anyone like that. I mean, there's plenty of brave guys.
Yeah,
They're just way more experienced and smart about it.
right.
And not knocking Bradley, like I love that kid, but just not one of his strong suits. When he's going, he's sending it, and that's it. But if you're talking
Yeah,
about if you're talking about a Hayden Gillum or somebody like that, they're just so they're they their mindset is not I'm going to send it. Their mindset is we're going to plug at this until I get the bike exactly how I want it, so I can go fast on it.
right.
And it's just not, it's the old Valentino Rossi thing. I'm going to ride at 90% most of the race. And if somebody tests me, then I'll go to 95. Most of the
Right.
time, I'm not going to 90 to 100%.
Yeah, Bradley was going 110.
He had something to prove, man. He had something to
Yeah.
prove. And he did it. He was there. I mean,
No,
it
dude,
was
he totally
amazing
was.
to see when he was doing it. I was just like, holy, just does not care. He's going to send it. It was great to see.
Dude,
until the
I had a race with him at Chuckwalla I think right before I stopped. I think it was like maybe a month before I stopped racing out there.
Mhm.
Because I did that Niken thing, I high sided the
Mhm.
Niken on Friday of the
Mhm.
February round at 19. But he put it under me going up the slide before the back
Uh-huh.
straightaway. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I'm on 1,000, you're on 600, you're killing your drive, and I'm just gonna smoke you as soon as we're straight up and down. And he after the race, he comes up to me and he had such a sense of humor, right? He's like, "Hey, how'd you think of that cheeky pass right there?" Right? Like
Yeah, he's
that
hilarious.
kid
Yeah.
he was a riot. He was a riot for
He
sure.
he we had some fun. I'll say that. We had a lot of fun. He's hilarious.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So your favorite tracks, Barber. What's your best finish since you've been doing the Moto America thing?
Uh, seventh or eighth, I
Okay.
believe. It would go back to 19, I think, at Jersey. It was a pretty thin grid. I think and I don't know if or not, but I tend to be pretty good in the rain. We just don't get to race it a lot here.
And you tend to be in the rain at Jersey for whatever reason.
Yeah, yeah. At least at some point of it, yeah. I'll never forget. I think that was the first time I was ever there, and I show up, and it's mud. Like the paddock is mud, and they're putting us in these spots. Like, here's your spot, and I'm a little privateer guy. I can basically fit my van wherever I want. I'm like, I'm not parking in the mud. No way. So I just
Yeah.
kept my bike in the van until it was time to tech it, rolled it up to tech, drove up to tech, rolled it out, put it in the tech barn, put it back in the van. I kept it in there until it stopped raining. And then I had them move me into the mud wherever they wanted after it dried. But yeah, that place, I could not believe that was like the paddock.
Dude,
And I really
I
liked the
think
track, but
I think I saw pictures of that where they like riders that already know that about Jersey, they roll out like a sheet of plywood and stuff. Like
yeah,
that's that's pretty crazy, man. Like it seemed like
yeah, they're
they should
putting
have that all paved instead of those little dirt islands that they have there.
yeah, and
Kind
then
of
it's like it's sloped too. So like if anything gets wet enough to like slide down, it's going downhill. It's not none of
into
it's
your
flat.
pit.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I got
Yeah.
this sweet new set of this new toolbox.
Yeah. Good thing is the paddock's always super friendly if you need to get under, take some cover or something. But yeah, what a mess.
Yeah, it just it just seems like for whatever reason, every year that weekend is wet. I don't know.
Yeah. At least at one
Somebody
point.
should send a strongly worded letter to the whoever is doing the scheduling.
Yeah, I don't think it would matter much though, because it's
Yeah.
just one of those tracks. Like you're in the
Well, I
wettest
mean, there
part of
was
the
a
country.
season. Wasn't there a season a few years ago where almost every round had rain? It was like, oh, we're in the middle of
Uh,
a drought. Let's schedule a Moto America weekend here so it'll rain.
yeah. I mean, I didn't see any of that rain except for at Barber and maybe Brainerd. Brainerd had one little
Yeah.
short burst, and we practiced in. Oh, I practiced in it just because I liked it and I thought it was going to hold out, but it was dry for the races.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could see Brainerd being okay in the wet. The old Brainerd, maybe not so much, right? Because the old Brainerd, you have to go down the drag strip.
Mm-hmm. Did you race that?
No,
No.
no. I watched it on TV.
Did it scare
I've
you?
ridden at Brainerd now. Like, I did a test with the
Mhm.
team and got to ride some R7 thing there a couple years ago. But yeah, I mean,
So you
the
didn't come
old
off the
track.
drag strip. You've never come off the drag strip.
Oh no, 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 no.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to
I never
though.
have either.
All the local dudes that from the CRA, that's the OG CRA,
Yeah.
those dudes
Yeah.
say they have some war stories, dude.
Yeah. I've heard some of
So
them, and I've never got to
yeah,
race it either. But my
like
sister lives up there now.
180-mile-an-hour turn one.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
With a partition, like coming off of the stuff. Like you hit that stuff now into turn one, and it upsets everything. I could imagine
Oh yeah.
getting a run at
Yeah.
it for a half mile or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
crazy.
all you gotta do is, I mean, YouTube has some videos from some old
Mhm.
AMA days. I mean, even the 600s back then. I mean, they're like
Yeah,
in sixth gear on the pin.
and
You
they're
know?
throwing it down. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
what do you
I
think?
happen. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Sorry.
No, you.
I was just gonna say I happen to be that kind of guy. I like that about that
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Those fast leaned over turns. Like I just like them, but I've never ridden that, so I don't know how much I'd like that. But I'm sure
I raced at Willow for a decade, so that
I
shit
love that
totally,
place.
huh?
Yeah, I love that place. I love that place.
Yeah. Sixth gear, throttle to the stop, knee down through turn 8. Like it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes. Yeah.
and I don't know how it'd be now, but man, back in the day, that place was something else. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that was kind of the place, kind of the way people treat Chuck Walla now, right? In the wintertime,
Yeah.
it's a bunch
Yeah.
of pro guys come and sort their shit out in the wintertime and pick a couple of fights with the amateurs, and then they go
Yep.
nationals again, right?
Yep. 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 I don't know that history of it, but it seems like it'd be the perfect place for it.
Well, a million years ago, WSMC, it was like on any given weekend, like Factory Yamaha would show up,
Yeah.
Arion Honda every now and then would show up. So
Yeah.
like you'd be a club racer dipshit on the grid with like Jamie Hacking, Tommy Hayden, Anthony
Yeah.
Gobert, Jake Zibke,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
but now people at Chuck Walla, they're grading up against, Corey Alexander and Aussie Dave and whoever else, right? So
Yep.
it's pretty
Yep.
cool.
It's a spot. It's a spot for the winner.
Yeah. So what do you think? Like, I heard you say Barber, and you definitely like the super fast Road America type, Road Atlanta probably too.
Yep.
I didn't hear you mention Laguna Seca.
Oh, I love Laguna, but it's just not. I mean, the history is great,
Yeah.
but it's not. Yeah, it's not Road America. I'll say that. But it is. Yeah, like it's for me, anyways. Like I just love that. I just love that bar to bar at that speed. But Laguna, like I've only raced it twice in my whole career. So,
Okay.
and it's everything it's cracked up to be. It's like when you threw your CRA thing, I think that was the first time I raced it. No. I raced it one time before that, in 19. And
Okay.
like it scared the crap out of me the first time I raced it, because you go there Friday morning, the marine layers like settling on the track. I couldn't see anything.
They're like, oh, let's send the stock 1,000 guys out.
Exactly. And it was for the first time, like that's the first time I saw the track. I walked it the night before, but getting on the track, I couldn't really see past, I'd say, like 50 yards, 80 yards, because the mist was
Right.
there so thick. And then when you're, dropping the corkscrew the first time, you're sliding. Like that was my first experience with it. So it
Right.
scared me a little bit, I'd say, for the first couple sessions. And then I started to get more comfortable, but I was racing at that point, like 15th, 15th, maybe 15th to 19th. I don't remember where I was, just fighting for my life for no reason way back there, because you just don't have the confidence to send it. And then I went to your CRA.
Fires every corner, right?
Exactly.
Got
And
the
then I
fire
went to your
extinguisher
CRA.
out. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Oh my God, I'm going to die.
Yeah. And every
That's
lap
the
you're
best way to
okay.
ride and learn to track, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then I went to your CRA. You had a 20-lap race, and oh
Yes.
my God, it was so fun. It was so
Yes.
fun. I came from like the back, and I remember just passing someone every other corner, and you just got more and more confidence. It was great. And then we actually raced it. I think it was like, what, 2 weeks later or something for Moto America?
Yeah, like 2 weeks later, Moto America raced there. But yeah, like I'm obviously I've sold my stake in CRA. I ran all the way to the bank with a smile on my face with that check.
Right.
But of my time building that club from the ground up, and I'm actually the reason why that event happened at Laguna. That event was mine, and I basically donated the weekend to the race club so the club could have a race event there. And like the significance of like bringing club racing back to Laguna for like the first time in like 40 years or something, I thought that was pretty cool too. But on the other side, in addition to running everything, I did get to have a good time racing there. So like, and I'll remember that forever.
Yeah, you raced it. Because I remember seeing you that race on track. Yeah, it was fun.
Briefly,
that was a great event.
You probably passed me.
I did, but you were going good. You were having fun. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I did better in some of the other races, but yeah, I mean, I don't know anymore. It just takes me longer than it used to like get up to pace,
Yeah.
So
you're not riding every day anymore. So you're
right.
riding the pedal bikes.
Yeah. I'm a fucking bicyclist now, riding that thing all the time. So
I got to listen to your dweeby stories about those things, and I just shake my head.
You shake your head at San Francisco to LA, Nosco.
No, not at all. No, not at all. I'm a mountain bike guy, so I get it, man. It's so much fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
Not a roadie though, huh?
No, I mean, I get the appeal, but here I live in Arizona, man. Like we get riding all year long. All the techie, rocky stuff you want, downhill climbs. Like it's perfect training. It's great to just get up in the mountains and get out of the city for a little bit. It's perfect for me. I love it.
So you're riding in the mountains that were like the background on like National Lampoon's Vacation?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, South Mountain.
Where those Indians were like, dumbass.
I don't know if it's the same ones, but that's.
It always looks like it. Yeah. Like I always think of that when I'm driving to Podium Club. I'm like, I wonder if that's where Clark jumped the,
No, I think by the time you're down there, you're still barely seeing the backside of South Mountain. But there's some good stuff. Sedona is another great place to go mountain biking. Flagstaff.
Yeah. I mean, look, I got a lot of people out here that are mountain bikes and roadies, and I've got some roadie friends that are doing gravel as well, and a few of them tried to scumbag me into getting a gravel bike, and I'm like, why? Like,
why?
I'm not. I love cycling. It's a great time for me, but at the same time, I'm like, Do I really want to get another fucking bicycle? No.
I mean,
This one's
if you
enough,
had,
dude.
so you've got one bike and you do all the work on it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can get that. Like, just maintaining my mountain bike at times can be cumbersome, especially when it's like in the race weekend. Like, I've got a lot of stuff to work on, right? Working on the race bike and then going to the mountain bike.
I mean, I don't
But
got to
if you
do a
had
whole
another,
lot. I don't got to do a whole lot. I mean, lube the chain, keep the sealer up to, in the tires
yeah,
and charge the batteries in the shifters. That's, that's about it.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So that seems, I guess my day is a little bit more compressed. I imagine you're a busy guy. You're a pretty busy guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a day job and run the TrackDaz program that, and do this crap. So,
Sorry, my kids just got home. They want to say hi. They just came home from soccer practice.
oh, right on.
I get it.
Right on.
Yeah. Sorry.
Family
I'm on
man.
another podcast.
He's like, I'm
I'm
podcasting.
almost. Oh no, she's mad at me. She just walks off. Yeah.
Right on. Wow.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so you got the Suzuki. I guess you're planning on doing stock 1,000 again this year.
That's the plan. Yeah, Superbike Cup as well.
Oh, Superbike Cup as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your plan to make that happen in the best way possible?
That's all in the works now.
Yeah.
Putting the data on the bike. That's going to be a big piece of it. My dad and I just kind of learning the software, kind of focus on, I've seen Nolan's YouTube on that stuff. I've been kind of researching because I've never really looked at it. It's oddly enough, the Podium Club track day was the first time I actually got to look at my own data.
Right.
Buddy Thibaut Few, he had a Suzuki.
Yeah.
He let me ride for the first day, and he had it hooked up with all of his data stuff, and I got to look at it with my own data coming off the bike, and it was like, man, I don't know how I did it so long without any of this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the next.
It's
step,
a lot, though,
obviously.
right? I mean,
yeah,
looking at your data is a lot.
It is. It's
so
a lot, but
what did you get? You get an AIM system or something? What'd you get?
Yeah, that's the plan. We're talking with AIM now and trying to put all that together. I'd like to put it together a package deal with Bobby and Flow for Law guys. Not putting any pressure on them, but yeah, we'd like to do that because they've got two R1s, Ben Smith and Bobby. And then if we can do a package deal for all three of us, that'd be great. But I know, business is business. You got to see what fits best and what costs they can get to us. Obviously, I'm not going to do it without it. I'm kind of spinning my wheels without it because it takes too long to plug through a race weekend without being able to see data. I'm at that point now to where I think I know enough about setup, but you need to make sure, you need to confirm it with data. What you're feeling is what you're seeing and what you're getting back from the bike. And I think at that point, like it'll definitely put us up into another, we'll be able to race deeper into the pack for sure.
Yeah. When I talked to the other privateer guy, Nolan Lampkin, I actually shared some of this experience with him as well, is that, you can look at the data and what did he call it? He was like data fatigue or something. It might have been something else, but it's something like that where you're basically looking at so much data that you kind of get lost in it. And so like you can, maybe pick a couple of things to look at. And one of the things that I always looked at, which seemed like the easiest thing to look at, was like my brake pressure to, from on brakes to back to gas. And then that wuss gap.
The gap between.
The wuss gap, right? And so I would work on that, and holy shit, just working on that was worth time. So, but without the data, you're like, oh yeah, dude, I've had full gas right away. And then you look at the data, nope, womp womp, right?
Yep.
So,
and our memories really aren't that good, just human beings, but racers especially. Like we're out there trying not to die, and you have something to tell you exactly what's happening. Like that's a game changer. So
High Rev Trev actually has High Rev Trev has a comment too that goes with that. It's paralysis
Yeah.
by analysis.
Yeah, that boy. Yep.
That's the one. Thanks for that.
I don't think that's how
It's
I don't think that's how Nolan said it, but yeah, that's it's the same effect.
no, I think that's the phrase he used.
I'm
Paralysis
gonna
by
check.
analysis. I'm
I'm gonna
pretty
check
sure
because I
he
think I
did.
even listened to it. I think I listened to it
Yeah.
today. You want to fight? We'll just fight about this.
And then Trevor actually has a couple of questions. He says, "How did Flow Law deal come about at the end of the year? Did they pick you up and Ben Smith the last couple of rounds? Like, how'd that work?"
Yeah. So Bobby Davies, one of my man, I've known that guy since I started racing since 2013, something like that.
Bobby
In
Davies is the
Texas.
first commenter.
Yeah, he's from San Antonio, and I was living in Austin at the time. We raced together the entire time in CMRA. We're buddies the whole time. And Bob, he came off an R6, and then I think it's only relatively recently, for 3 or 4 years on an R1. So the next thing to do is go pro racing with it. And he had buddies that I guess school buddies that were successful with their law business. Flo is one, Matt Moreno, Flo Moreno brothers, and they sponsored him. They just they told him whatever we got to do to get you guys some help and get you going quick. Obviously, it was benefiting his business. He puts out awesome media. I don't know if I'd seen anybody put out media like that at all in the entire paddock there towards the end of the year. If you haven't seen it already, take a look at it. It's really cool stuff. And he was just blasting it. Like he had camera crews out there taking, little snippets of everybody, and it was good. It was good stuff. But he was benefiting from it. Obviously, Bobby benefited from it. And I'm just buddies with him, so I was pitting next to him and got to hang out with him, and that's how that happened. The last 2 races, they helped out with a bunch, and yeah, that Austin round was a memorable one because of all of their help. So big shout out to them.
And the Austin round was the final round for Stock 1000, right, or no?
Yes.
Okay, that's a bummer that it's only 5 rounds. Seems like a lot of travel for 5 rounds.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, you get
Superbike Cup though.
The same amount of track time. If you're doing the Superbike Cup, you get all of it. Guys like Nolan, they do the full season.
Right.
I wanted to make that work, but I couldn't financially. But that's the goal for this year. Let's make all those happen.
So, well, let's talk about it. Like, what is it that you need in order to make that happen? And like, do you need like somebody to hook you guys up with a hotel or like travel expenses? What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, like a title sponsor would be awesome. Somebody to give a chunk of change for the entire season or round by round. Anything helps. Like I'm in it for the stock rounds anyways. But I think with a little bit more track time, good data package, somebody to help me plug through that data. My dad's he's always there helping. My sister's there kind of crew chiefing everything, learning as she goes. But really it's going to take just that extra bit of money to make sure we have tires for every session. That's a huge bill. And then obviously accommodations and travel, that's huge as well. But if we get there, I mean, maintenance is going to go through the roof on the bike. That's another big chunk. But we can compete there. It's just a matter of being able to get there financially and having the spares. Like if we fall down, I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Fall down, like I don't know if I can race the next round or the next bike, or the next race, even not just the next round.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes, like I said, if I take a spare set of bodywork, I'm lucky. But usually this year, I was more than half the season without a spare set of bodywork. I just bought it after the round was done.
So then you would duct tape it back together or whatever, and just kind of make
whatever
it work?
I got to do. Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Tech don't always like it, but I'm always there to look pretty, and we still put on a good show. That the fans still show up. They appreciate that stuff. Sometimes we just want to race.
Well, I mean, I'll be straight with you, man. Like the Superbike team, they've had a couple of times where it's like
Yeah.
there's not another tank, you know. So they have strips of vinyl that they've had painted,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
I know.
They like
I know all
painted
those
the
tricks.
vinyl, dude.
Yeah, I know all those tricks. I detail for a living, so like if I gotta bust out the spray paint and just patch it up real quick, that's fine. As long as we can get
Do you
out
have a
there.
let me ask you this, you know, because you're the quintessential privateer guy, do
Mhm.
you have like a welder on your in your van?
No, I don't have room for it, man.
What?
No, I
I'm
don't have room for it.
surprised. I thought you'd be
Yeah,
welding something.
no, 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 no. If I need to, I'll find somebody and locally, and they'll weld it up for me or something. But no.
I can also remember back in the day, I don't know if there's anybody still doing this, but some of the privateers would, you know, bodywork's expensive now. It's like over
Mhm.
$1,000 for a set, right?
Sure.
For good bodywork. I mean, I guess you can get hot bodies, right?
Yeah, you could.
I
You could.
mean, you know, like I said before, cheap shit is still shit, right?
Right.
And
It gets you
you
out
know,
there.
but these guys, I can remember they would go and buy like shark skins or something, and then take
Mhm.
molds of it, and then they would go home and make their own sets of bodywork spare out of the shark skin set that they bought.
If I had the time, I'd do the same thing. Trust me,
Is that
but I
right?
don't have the time. Yeah, like even doing a patch on a, a busted, even a hole on the side of the main fairing. It's like it can be a pain in the ass sometimes. So you got to
Yeah.
take your time with it.
You got the cardboard and, you know, duck. You
Hmm.
got the Home Depot boat repair kit,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yep. There's one on my bodywork right now. Like it's holding strong, but it's not going to be there much longer.
Yeah, I mean, it might not look pretty, but it'll be strong.
It's super strong.
Yeah,
It's not going. If it goes through that, then it'll probably tear off the other side of it or something.
right, right.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, you literally are. I mean, it's like, wow, bro. Like, what drives you to keep doing that? Like, I mean, you're knocking on Formula 40's door, dude. So, like,
Yeah.
what's driving you to keep pushing forward?
I just love to compete. I think racing's definitely like a bug. It's a mind virus for sure. Like once you taste it, it's not going away.
Yeah,
That's definitely part of it. But I'm than most. I'll say that. And um,
yeah,
I've got the racing in my DNA. My dad, started with that whole thing. He loved drag racing and Indy cars and all that stuff. And I just love it. I love every part of it. It's great for my family. It's hard on us a lot of times, being
yeah,
away, and my wife, she does an awesome job with our kids when I'm gone, and all of that kind of stress that it puts on you. But they know that it keeps me going strong, so they let me do it, and it's like one of the best parts of my life besides my family. So yeah, the big thing I always tell my wife is. Like I want my kids to grow up around something kind of extraordinary and kind of extra, more than just going to school and playing the sports, which is awesome because I
right.
did it. I played basketball half my life and I loved it. It taught me a lot of good things. But the biggest thing is like if you want to go do something, as crazy as it seems, go do it. Don't let nobody tell you can't. And that's what they see when we go racing. Not just me. It's like everybody in the paddock. Just if
Yeah,
it's crazy, but go
yeah.
do it. Go do what you love.
So let me ask you this: like, you're a parent.
Mhm.
Are your kids in school yet? Like, what?
Yeah,
How?
yeah, yeah. I've
Okay.
got two
So
8-year-olds, a 10-year-old, and a little 2-year-old, and one on the way.
what's it like showing up to like a school thing around all the other normal parents, and you're the motorbike racer? Like, how does that
Yeah,
conversation go? Like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a bank, whatever. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I race motorbikes. Like, how does that go?
yeah. I don't know.
Conversations with the normies.
Yeah, yeah. No, everybody thinks it's cool, but yeah, they all think I'm crazy. It's
Yeah.
they're like, "What are you doing? Like, you got kids to raise and all this." It's like, yeah, but like, I love it. Like, it's not going anywhere.
How many times when after, like, almost immediately after you tell somebody that you race motorbikes, do they
Mhm.
come up with a story about how they know a guy that got killed on the
Yeah.
street or whatever? Oh, my uncle, he
Yeah.
lost his leg and this and that,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, it happens at least 50% of the time, at least. And you're like, I'm sorry. That's the consequence of being of something unfortunate happening or just being
Yeah,
unlucky. My own cousin passed away from that. We were really close, and he passed away on the road.
yeah,
And it's unfortunate, but it happens.
yeah.
It's not going to stop. It doesn't
Dude,
stop anybody
people,
from riding.
you know, people don't realize that that people die of stuff. It's just it's like that. It's just part of life. You know,
Yep.
it's the
Yep.
end of life,
Can't be
but
scared to
it's
die.
yeah. I mean, dude, you got to die of something.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
I make the
So
joke often enough, and none of my family likes it. But like, if I go in a big fiery ball, like I was having fun. That's for sure.
I feel that. I feel that. My wife's probably watching this crap in the other room, going, "I've heard him say that
You
before.
idiot. You
You
idiot.
guys are
Yeah.
dumb, right?"
Yeah. Yep. Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I've been racing for 25 years. You know,
Hmm.
so I used to Jacob West and I used to have this joke when we were in our 20s, and it was, you know, older people are always like, "Oh, my aching this, oh, my aching that," but they don't know where it came from. But at least we'll know where it came from. Well, I'm gonna
Right.
tell you right now, God damn it, I know where it came from, and it's not funny anymore.
Hmm. I'm sure I'll get to that point. I'm pretty good with my fitness and all that, but yeah, there's definitely times where I can feel it, and so
Yeah,
what? Like, go and train. Stronger you keep your body. Some of that stuff will heal. Some of it won't. Do what you
right.
can financially and otherwise, medically. Um, but yeah, just keep training. Keep moving around. Don't be afraid to get outside and do something fun. All of that.
Yeah,
All the
yeah,
all the stuff you hear. Like, you got to do what you love.
yeah. The racing thing is. I'm just chasing fun at this point, right? Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm old. I got nothing to prove. I don't give a shit. So
Right.
let's go have fun,
Yeah.
man. Let's see what's what.
Whereas, and I love that like mindset, and one day I will get there. But right now, I'm still in the thick of, like, I've got something to prove. I started late in this whole thing, but
Yeah.
I know I can compete deep into the top 10,
Oh,
and
100%, dude.
it's
100%.
it's that like fire that it's not going to go out until I know I did all that I could do to get there, and until I do that, then I'm probably not going to be done.
I got to watch you at Podium Club a little bit, riding Tebow's bike while I was
Hmm.
out on track, and I was watching your corner exits, and I was just like, God damn, you're like,
Yeah,
I was
yeah, but
stoked on it, man. Stoked on it.
yeah. Suzuki, his bike was fun to ride because uh, he had like second gear turned way down, so you could basically open it and let
Yeah,
the variable timing just like smoothly spin the tire up. So it was fun. I was playing with it on those
yeah,
shanked out tires we had, and yeah, it's the Suzuki already gets out of the corner pretty good, but the way you had
right.
it set it up was pretty nice. So it was fun.
So you felt what it felt like to have electronics that actually connect to the laptop.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That's
Yeah, that'd
pretty
be
sweet.
nice. Yeah, it's always been one thing or the
Hopefully
other.
you've
I've
gotten
never
that
had.
shit sorted by now, right?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
With
Yeah,
the
we
with
we
the AIM
have
stuff going into the bike.
we have a similar setup on the Yamaha, with the kit stuff, and then basically you can go and set the torque and power curve,
Hmm.
basically every gear, throughout throughout the gearbox and rev range
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
So I usually
Yep.
set the thing to choke the shit out of it in first and second gear, right? And
Yep.
then a little bit more power in third, and then give it everything from fourth up. And
Right.
but like you said, man, you stick the thing. I mean, you could get to the apex and stick the thing, and it's just like
Yeah.
it sounds like it's running weird. Like it doesn't sound
Yeah.
right. And then all of a sudden
Yeah. Yep.
you leave that
Yep.
like initial that flat spot in the torque curve, you leave that, and then it's like, okay, I'm straight up and down now. It
Yep.
works.
Let it rip. Yep.
Um,
Yeah. So
not so many wheelies though.
I've never been much of a wheelie guy. I like to go fast.
Right. I was
Yeah.
always the wheelie guy until I got this set up, and then now I understand what Richard was saying about how those who can't race wheelie. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Like I still
but
be a guy on my mountain bike, just riding around with my dog or whatever, and I'm like, damn, I'm just not that guy. I'm not the wheelie guy. I'm not a
yeah,
Bradley Ward, that's for sure. That dude could hold one.
yeah. I mean, there's some guys. I mean, there's some guys that are the guy and the lunatic behind the bars too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hayden Gillum, right? Like that dude, Ashton Yates,
Yeah.
right?
But just like bike control there, I mean,
Yeah,
let's be real. They've been riding since they were babies, 2, 3 years old.
right.
So like if I was doing it since then, if you were doing it since then, like you'd have some of that bike control where you just trust the damn thing.
Here's one for you. You're gonna like this one. This one's from Bearded Jixer. He's a club racer out of SoCal. I think he does CVMA and the CRA series. And he says he wants to know if you talked about how and why you're on the Jixer. I think you talked about getting on it, but I don't think you talked about why, other than it was cheap.
Yeah, no, it was. I kind of knew I was going in that direction because my only other options were the Yamaha and back to a Kawi. I didn't really. I mean, there's always other avenues, but I didn't have the money for it. So I was looking for both an R1 and a GS. And the first one I found, it was I wanted new, but I was going to my dealerships here locally, and nobody would throw me a bone for like sponsorship or. Like, you know what, this ain't gonna work. And
Right.
our club in Pennsylvania had a bike that Brandon Posh had run one weekend. I think it was like a endurance round or something. Not even 300 miles on the thing, and it was brand new. And it was a really good deal, and I couldn't even pass it up. I was like, yeah, I think this is going to work out. And I had to get out of the Kawi. So the Kawi was sold, that one was in, and I just learned it. I've known some friends that have been riding a couple of them. Ty Benford was one. He struggled with it for a while.
Yep.
And he was getting up more or less what he was saying on it. William Russell was on another one, and he loved his. And
dude, he still loves his, but he also likes that old vintage thing. He likes everything.
He does. Yeah, he does. And
right.
But I think I could understand, again, I could trust a little bit of what he was saying to where I'd be like, yeah, at least the thing is comfortable. It turns. And if I wanted to, I can work with some of the power discrepancy with everybody else. I still knew Hayden was going to be running a stalker, so there's people that had some info. So it was people that had a lot of information on the bike, which I had zero. So I was learning at Atlanta, still like geometry, some of the suspension stuff. So I just knew there was a little bit more information about it because it's an older platform. So that's mostly
when I was racing a few years ago, I mean, nobody had a Suzuki. There was like one dude.
Yeah.
Everyone was either on Yamahas or Kawis, right? And then all of a sudden there was that big BMW boom, right? And then all of a sudden all the Kawi guys became BMW guys like overnight.
Yeah.
I always thought most of the people that were on Kawis were doing it because the Kawi contingency money was crazy.
Yes, that was a big part of it, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
I don't know what BMW's contingency looks like, but I think the Yamaha stuff is still the same as it's been for several years now. It's like $500, right? Which is
some BMW contingency a couple years back, but I don't think it's substantial now. It's just a good bike. It's a good platform, but it's going to take you. Somebody's going to have to help you with your electronics engineering, and somebody's going to have to help you with your chassis. And there's only a few people that can help with that, and it costs a lot of money.
Well, you just got to get Steve Weir in your pit.
You have to have Steve if you're going to run it. Like if you're a guy like me, you got to have Steve. You can't just go and figure it out on your own.
Like even on club weekends, dude. Like I think it was at Buttonwillow. I can't remember if it was Thunder Hill or not, but Steve Weir apparently is like at every club weekend too. Like he's at Chuckwalla, he's at
He's everywhere.
Buttonwillow,
Yeah.
he's fucking everywhere. Like how that dude is probably never home. Like
Yeah. He's busy.
would it be nice
sure.
to just be wanted as much as Steve Weir is wanted by BMW guys? Right?
Man, I feel bad. Fuzz is one of them. Like everybody is calling Fuzz, and I'm still one of those guys. Like I love that guy, but shit, he never has. I bet you he never has a second to himself. He's always answering a message, and they're
posting on
usually
Instagram.
so nice with it.
He's posting on Instagram and all his other
and Facebook. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that guy. But
this is actually a good question, dude. And it is from the Honda guys. So, I'm gonna keep that in mind when I say this question that he asked. But he asked, does contingency come into play anymore? Because Honda's payout's pretty good.
I mean,
I bet it does.
But it could. But at the pro level, like you got to be real. If you're gonna, the amount that you're gonna get from their contingency, it's gonna cost quadruple that just to put into your program to get there to the point where you're fast enough.
Right.
Honda's, if they add that kind of contingency where it's 10 G's for a win or whatever, like we got to be real because you're going to blow through 10 G's in a weekend just trying to get the thing competitive.
Right.
So it could come into play depending on the platform, but I played that game with the Kawi and like I just wasn't in the realm at the time to capitalize on it. And you got to be real about some of that stuff.
Yeah, Trev says that they pay back to 10th or whatever.
Okay, but how much?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm asking him if they pay club racing. And
I'm sure they do.
What's the numbers? Because the national series always paid more than the club races, but back in the day, it was like club races. That's why the bounty hunters really don't exist anymore because there isn't really much bounty. That's probably why the Loudon Classic thing was so stacked, right? And anything that's similar to that, it gets stacked. That's part of the reason why CVMA is stacked. CRA was stacked because there was something to win,
exactly.
But the bounty hunter thing, there was guys winning $2,000 a race with Yamaha and Suzuki and Kawasaki money back in the day. And, I'll call him out, whatever. Brant Wee, for instance. Like Brant was front runner in AFM, front runner in WSMC, and he was winning Yamaha money like crazy everywhere. And then the following year, the Yamaha money went from $2,000 to $500, and Kawasaki was paying stupid money. So he ditched his Yamahas, got Kawis, and instead of winning, he was finishing 5th.
Oh,
or worse.
Yeah.
So, like he never really gelled with the Kawis, and he spent more money trying to make the Kawis feel like his Yamahas did than he would have by just continuing racing Yamahas and take the $500.
Right. Yeah. I again, when the only experience I have with any of that was the Kawi stuff, and they put out a good bike. It was fast, and club stuff. It could murder if you were going quick enough to make it murder. But you'd have to be. I mean, Dave did it. He was racing that thing for contingency.
Right.
Yeah, they were making money off of it, and their 100%. Contingency was good. Like they were paying well, so it made sense to do it. But as soon as that dried up, like everyone had to go wherever you could get the fastest bike, the cheapest platform, or just a fast bike.
I mean, I know Stefano said something like that too. Like he, if there's a bounty hunter in the nation right now, he is it. Like I don't know anybody that's doing what he does.
Yeah, he's everywhere, and
he's probably racing somewhere this weekend, right? Like
probably is. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can't get mad at a dude for. I mean, he loves to race, and he's going to go rake up the money wherever he can get it. Like I get it.
Right. Well, you know what, man? Like this is fun, dude. Like, do you have any you have any sponsors you'd like to thank or give shout out to tonight?
Sure. Um, Woodcraft has always been like just awesome. Since I started in 2013, they still like give me a lot of stuff, and I appreciate them to heck. I maybe talk to you about some KYT stuff. That's for sure for this upcoming year. If we could make that work.
KYT stuff.
Yeah, that one's not bad. That one's not bad right there. Little
Limited
red
edition
and silver.
Xavi Flores.
Yeah, little red and silver is good for me. Yeah, it's I mean, I'm small, man. There's not a lot of sponsorship stuff there. Hustle Hard jumped on with the Flow stuff, of course, Flow and Bobby for all their help. Hopefully, I can be involved in some way this year again. But my dad, my mom, my wife, my kids, like it's a family thing, and we're really small. So anything that we get, I'm not like the social media whiz. I kind of don't have time for it. I try, but I'm just not.
You need to get somebody to help Manny. Comment below if you can help Manny with his social media game, because he sucks at it.
Yeah, I'm terrible at it. I don't hide it. My wife,
because you got a good program, dude. I mean, honestly, dude, I see the effort that you put in, and it should be shared. Some of it,
Yeah, and I totally agree. I see that. It's just the cadence of my day goes really quick, and I've got a lot of other responsibilities with family and work and all that stuff. So, we run a family-owned business, and I've got kids running all over the place. We got to take them to soccer and stuff. So, like, definitely, I've employed my sister for free, and she takes care of some of that. My wife definitely helps me with a lot of that. So they're good at that stuff. I'm not, but it still takes me to kind of, get the content to them and all that. And I drag my feet sometimes.
You forget to press play on the GoPro.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I don't even have a GoPro. Like, what? I just want to get on my bike and go. Like, I just don't care about getting my stuff out there.
Okay, so somebody's got to go to Costco and get a couple of GoPros for this guy, right? Like, get him a couple of GoPros. You never know, man. People might send you some shit. What's the name of your detail business?
It's PHX Auto Detailing here in Phoenix.
You're in Phoenix. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the next time in Phoenix, I'm going to make you detail my shit. My whole rig, everything.
That's fine. I'll detail all day long, every day. That's what I do.
Yeah. Davey Stone, if you're watching this, have Manny do your truck, and your boat.
Where's Davey's here? He's in Phoenix?
Somewhere around, whatever. It's all Arizona to me. It's all Phoenix. Everything's a suburb of Phoenix.
If it's not California, it's Phoenix.
Dude, Podium Club is basically Phoenix.
It basically is, yeah.
Right?
That's true.
So,
yeah.
Dude, I'm impressed with your effort, man. Like you're that working class dude. I'm excited to be rooting for you this year. I wish you the best of luck, Manny. Man, it's been fun chatting you up, man. Any final words, dude? No, man. I had a blast on here with you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for throwing the bone. And yeah, I love this stuff. There's nothing I'd rather do. So when I get to talk to you and geek out about stuff or just share stories, like that's what it's about for me. So thank you and anybody listening that took the time. Like, yeah, thanks for everybody for watching this. Look for the number 20 in stock 1,000 in Moto America this year. Go seek him out if you're at the races. Shake the dude's hand. Maybe get a sticker or something. Have him detail your car. I don't know. Yeah, that could work too. And yeah, man, I wish you the best of luck this season. And thanks for the show, buddy. I appreciate it, man. Thanks again. Right. Yep. Thank you, guys. All right. Bye.